Hey everybody, Aaron here. Welcome back to another anime review. Today we look at episode 10 of Danganronpa 3 Future Arc. Now, very solid episode. I know people are still coping over the events of last week, which unfortunately, as we see with our first scene here, is showing a flashback from the original Danganronpa of Kirigi and Makoto in a room talking about one to one another. This was during the later end of the series where Makoto, I will not go into super amounts of detail with it, but he was very close to death. We'll say that, and Kirigi comes down and helps him out to stay alive, and I guess she's so surprised about how he never gives up and how he just keeps pushing through. And it was a very touching scene in the game. It was also a very touching scene in the original anime, so it was nice to see this scene. But the realization that Kirigi is dead currently still is something that I think most people are going to have to still put up with for the time being, because I still say that I feel that she's not dead yet. I feel that she, is dead currently, but there will be some solutions to her surviving, namely in the Ultimate Chemist creations that she made that, quote unquote, could revive people. We see a lot of hints from last week's episode that, if you really pay attention, apparently even I missed these things. Diehard fans, of course, are not gonna miss these things, but I did. You see a lot of little things that show maybe she's not gonna die. Maybe she'll come back to life, or something. At least, I don't. I believe that. I really feel that she's not dead completely yet. So that's something. But anyways, so Makoto is then challenged by, of course, Mankata from the intercom, and he decides, what, I'm gonna go face it. I have to go face it. And Mitara goes, How can you leave right away? And she just died. How are you able to do this? What is this? And Makoto says, she wanted me to promise her that I'd keep pushing through, and that's what I plan to do. And I'm gonna keep plowing through because she put her hope in me. So that's a really nice sentiment by Makoto. I really like that scene, and it shows that there's another scene that comes after. I didn't put it in here because I can't go over too many images, but I like how he was walking through the hallways and he sees the android, or excuse me, the robot cut in half by Makata from before, and his legs start shaking because he realizes Makata's a scary dude. Here he is. He's normal for the most part. He what is he going to actually do to stop him? But even though his legs are shaking and he's weak and he knows that, he hits his legs a few times and keeps on walking, which is what you have to do sometimes. Now, meanwhile, at the same time, while he's having flashbacks of people, Makata is also having flashbacks of Chisa. And what's funny about this is that we see a scene where apparently there was a whole bunch of dead people at a park. I'm thinking students, or I'm thinking kids. I don't know exactly, but she's really upset by this, and Makata's just looking at her with no words to say because he can't really say anything. Now, what's interesting though is it shows though that Makata's thinking of the same things that Makoto is in a different sense. He's thinking about Chisa while Makoto is thinking about Kirigi. So that's very interesting. I liked how they did that. Now we finally have the two destined to meet each other again. There's a whole bunch of banter here. It's really nice. I think it was really strong banter where Makoto is not going to give up on his hope, and Mankata just wants to get rid of despair by any means, but he's so crazed, hell bent on it now that he just lost his mind, like I said before. So he does go and chase down, Makoto, and the fight kind of ensues. Makata tries to show that he kicks ass because he does. Like honestly, there's a scene where he knocks Makoto in a room, and what's funny is then Makoto lets it where the water gets on the ground, and Makata is about to get electrocuted, but he actually is able to jump on the ceiling and hold a bar with one hand just to avoid the electrocution, and he puts his sword down into it to stop the actual water and evaporates it using his fire sword. I mean, Makata kicks ass. Holy shit, he really does. Damn, it's crazy, but really. But in the end, it looks like Makoto's gonna lose. He's got the sword right in front of him, but what's funny is that Makoto starts talking to him. He goes, I know your weakness. And he goes, of course, right there, as you see the screen, your forbidden action is opening doors, which is funny because that's what we thought of. I think a lot of fans thought it was kind of weird that he never chased people down. Like, he never chased Makoto down despite him being only in another room. And I thought that was kind of weird too. I'm like, oh, he just gave up on him. Well, maybe he doesn't care anymore. But I didn't think anything beyond that. And I think I forgot about it completely. But here it is that that was his forbidden action, was opening doors. So Makoto's like, hey, listen, I'll open the door if we just sit down and talk about this. And he doesn't want to hear it. I think that the old man's words to Makata are really causing him to think that this is something really bad. And the thing is that he's telling him that there's not only one attacker, everyone can be attacker. He's saying that him, Makoto, Kirigi, Chisa, they can all be attackers because, again, the old man, his forbidden action was lying, so he's not lying when he said that to him. But we see that apparently at one point Mankata went over to Chisa's body and he had a bunch of photos in his hand. And there was the same scene that I was talking about earlier with the whole bunch of kids or people dead in the playground. It looks like Chisa did it because there's a giant heart on it saying it was her. Now, is this kind of a falsality? I don't know. I'm not sure. But we do know from the spare arc that she just got brainwashed, and maybe that brainwashing was still in her. That maybe she's able to fight through it to a point, but not stopping completely. So maybe it's could be anything really here. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting. I think the despair arc will really answer the question: is she still brainwashed? Because right now it seems to enforce that she is. Now, I want to say that Makata just gets pissed off at Makoto. He really does. He pulls him up. He starts beating the shit out of him, and Makoto's just standing there going, if actually Makata goes, how can you do that? How can you see Kirigi die right in front of you, all that? And Makoto says, if I even had to kill her because she fell into despair also, I would just be happy about the time that we got to spend with one another and just about the time that we were together. And that causes Makata to remember Chisa in the better sense, remember her times, I guess, in high school and stuff like that. And we finally see Makata come to his senses by screaming his head off, but realizing, I think, what's going on here. Something, maybe I can do something different than what I'm doing right now. Now, with the last couple of scenes, what's funny is that we have Aisha coming running into the room and going, hey, I found out who the attacker is. And she holds this up, and Makata's eyes go wide, and so does Makoto's. So, I mean, it's going to be a big reveal. Next episode, I'm presuming we're going to find out, finally, who the killer is. I mean, it can't be a second too soon because we're on the last 2 episodes. That's going to be crazy. Now, if you stayed after the credits, which hopefully you did, there is one scene which I wanted to point out, which was the Jabberwock Island scene. Remember that from way back when? That was when they showed Izoya, or most likely Hajime now. They show him on the island facing down a whole bunch of battleships. And what's funny is that we see one little ship at the end of the sequence leave. So my presumptions is that he's getting out of there. He's on that ship running away, or escaping to somewhere. So I have a feeling he's going to probably be in a later episode or maybe the last episode. So I'm very curious about that. Overall, very solid episode. I want to hear your thoughts and your opinions down below. Tell me, who do you think the killer is? I still think, I know people might not agree with me, I still think Midora has a lot to do with this. I don't know why, but I just feel it. Like, it's crazy that that's the case, but I really do. Other than that, though, what's funny is I don't know who else it could possibly be, to be honest with you. We know that there are, from the opening, we know there's 6 people alive, so, it could be anyone's game right now. It could be some unseen force that could be not shown right now that's still alive, roaming around, that's killing people during the blank times, or during when everyone's knocked out. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting. I really enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed the series, though. Honestly, man, this series is so great. Anyways, I will talk to you guys later. Have a great day. Bye bye, everyone.